Do you remember when Disney used to make great films over the numerous decades, but now they're just a bunch of soulless remakes? Rachel Zegler carries this on her shoulders, but she can't do it all alone, 'cause Gal Gadot can act her way out of a paper bag. Snow White used to be a great film, but now it's a soulless cash grab. My, Gal Gadot can save the day! Snow White 2025 is the latest reimagining of Snow White. If you didn't get that from the title, I don't know what the fuck to tell y'all. But nevertheless, yeah. If you want to know how I felt about this film, I mean, what do you think? What do you fucking think? I'm going to tell you why I felt the way about it that I did in just a little bit. But this was allegedly directed by Mark Webb, who did 500 Days of Summer and also Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, he did that. He also did the sequel. He's done a bunch of music videos. He should probably go back to doing that. $250 million for this. It's like the Little Mermaid live-action movie, but slightly more shit. Or at least, something that could have been less shit had they actually fucking tried. Because Little Mermaid, unfortunately, was doomed. There's a correlation between the backlash that Little Mermaid got and this got that I'll get to in just a bit. But this is also written by two people. Greta Gerwig. I'm sorry, Greta Gerwig had something to do with this. Did she phone it the fuck in? Maybe she isn't the genius I thought she was. But Barbie and the Little Women 2019 movie, those are pretty goddamn good. Also, Aaron Crocetta Wilson, if I got that wrong, I don't care. Chloe and Secretarian. Yes, Rachel Zegler, who got way too much hate when she was cast as Snow White. I want to say right now that I'm a fan of Rachel Zegler, despite the fact that the Hunger Games prequel wasn't all that good and Y2K wasn't that great, and while Rachel Zegler is a bright, precocious, and very, very talented actress and singer, she can't do it alone, but she got way too much goddamn hate, basically for staying up against, innocent people getting mowed down, and the fact that she also said, anybody that supports Trump doesn't deserve a moment of peace. You don't. And if you happen to be watching this, I don't fucking care if it offends you, because you are what's wrong with this goddamn country. That being said, Rachel Zegler really was horribly, horribly hamstrung here, because no talented actress can carry this slop, this soulless goddamn slop, to any kind of finish line. I mean, eventually it does reach an end. The end, unfortunately, came in the beginning. The end is the beginning is the end, because this film, right out of the gate, snapped both its legs and couldn't get back up. It was like Carrie Strug and Carrie Von Erich and, I don't know, Carrie something else. Carry on my wayward son. There will be peace when you are done, and maybe Disney will start burning piles of cash until they can't no more. So she plays Snow White. This is reimagining in the sense that basically there is no prince that comes to save Snow White. She is more stand-up for herself, strong, independent woman that don't need no man till she needs a man a little bit later on. And she befriends 7 dwarves that are CGI, some of the worst CGI I've seen in a while. An alleged $250 million budget, and that is what they gave us. And the songs are terrible. I'm just going to spoil what the songs are, because honest to God, this movie is terrible. And I'm going to get to my worst nitpick about this movie, even though it's not really a nitpick. Where the Good Things Grow, and that's the opening song. Within the first few notes, I go, oh boy, oh, they didn't even fucking try here. And then Waiting on a Wish, I was waiting on, something that would make this movie better, i.e., I don't know, a giant asteroid hitting the theater. At least I wouldn't be talking about or having to watch the rest of it. All Is Fair by Gal Gadot. So let me just dive into Gal Gadot right here, because everybody else already has. Gal Gadot has to be one of the worst fucking actresses that has gotten mainstream roles. Outside of Wonder Woman, she was great as Wonder Woman because she just had to act tough, and she looked the part. The problem is that Wonder Woman 84 came along, and also Death on the Nile, and you know what? She can't act. She can't act, she can't sing. Every time she opens her fucking mouth, either on camera in a movie or on camera in interviews, you're reminded, you probably should just sit there and look pretty, and I know that's harsh. I don't care if that's harsh. When you can't act and you are out of your goddamn element and in over your goddamn head like you're lit from the Titan AE soundtrack, you shouldn't be allowed to continue to get roles. What ancient totem did moviegoers defile to have to put up with Gal Gadot? Somebody said, and I did not write the person's name on Letterboxd, but it was a short review where they said Gal Gadot's performance isn't something that you so much watch, it's a performance you survive. And that's true. When she started doing All Is Fair, I'm like, my goddamn goodness. And they couldn't even have her look the part of the queen. Yeah, she had the costume. Great. They might as well just had the costume on a goddamn mannequin. The mannequin would have had more fucking expressions and more abilities. And I know it's the accent. I know that people can't help their accents. I get it. But good goddamn Christ. Don't have people do shit they don't know how to do. Don't have them do shit they don't know how to do. But anyway, whistle while you work, because that's when the dwarves show up, and boy, they certainly made Dopey not offensive at all compared to the other previous, versions that, that Disney has done of those particular characters, if you know what I mean. He wants to be put back in the cryo chamber, if you get it. And the worst one is from Jonathan, who is actually not a prince. He's a thief because the king was banished. Or the king wasn't banished. The king was sent away by the evil queen to take care of something in the South Kingdom or province or whatever. And yeah, the king's no longer around. If you couldn't guess that, I don't know what to tell you. And Jonathan basically is a common thief. He's not a prince. He has to basically have a character arc that is so goddamn rushed and sloppy, it's impressive. And he has a song called Princess Problems. And there are 99 problems, and this song is one. And there's also a necklace that was given by the dad. Fearless, fair, quaint, and brave. This movie's brave. Brave to think that it, deserves to be remembered as anything more than just soulless slop. And look, I did not expect much from the trailer. I was actually astonished by how bad it looked. But good goddamn Christ. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. What absolute... God damn it. And it follows the same beats as the original despite trying to make Snow White more independent. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with reimagining that stuff because the original. I said this when I reviewed Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. When I retro-reviewed it. The prince basically stalks her, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. It's pretty goddamn atrocious. But that being said, what really bothers me with this is the fact that this film got every advantage. It got so much money put behind it. And then yet Disney will just shove other stuff out, or they'll cancel original stuff on Disney Plus, but they'll go with this. Something that has to make probably about $500 to $600 million just to turn a profit because you have marketing, you have distribution, you have all that, and they want to at least double their money. That's why I found it funny when the Little Mermaid live-action movie made like 500-something million, I think 550, and it was considered a money loss. I don't know why they expected that to necessarily succeed, but that's the thing that I basically want to get into before I dive into any spoilers, which really aren't any kind of spoilers. I mean, I kind of spoiled everything that needed to be spoiled. If you don't know the story of Snow White, I don't know what to tell you. But Rachel Zegler got way too much hate for, being cast as she is. Oh, you're casting somebody like her as Snow White or whatever. One, she's saying that for what she fucking believes in, which is the right way to speak up, by the way, and she's actually smart, unlike some of y'all dumb motherfuckers. And also, that reminds me of Halle Bailey getting a lot of hate for her turn as Little Mermaid, or as Ariel, rather, in Little Mermaid, because she happened to be black. If people are talented, I don't give a fuck what kind of role they have. Unless you are casting a South Korean person as an Italian opera singer from the 1600s, and even then, whatever, it's history, it's fine. My point is that maybe we need to hold back a little bit with the criticism and actually put the criticisms in the right spot, i.e., where this film basically lacks in every bit of soul, it's actually almost astonishing what this film lacks. From beginning to end, the songs, the sets, the costumes, none of this works. Rachel Zegler, while carrying it on her goddamn shoulders, is still not given much to do. None of the dialogue necessarily works. Any attempts to modernize basically fall goddamn flat, and the dwarves look absolutely terrible. And once again, Gal Gadot, this dumb broad, does not deserve to continue to get big goddamn roles because she's no good at it. She's not fucking good. And somebody needs to sit her down and tell her. And apparently, her star on the Walk of Fame got defiled soon after. Well, geez, maybe you should have stood up for the right goddamn people. Her acting and singing's the second worst thing involving, somebody Israeli. I mean, the only worst one is the goddamn president that apparently decides people that are from Palestine shouldn't be bothered, shouldn't be able to live. Now, that's just a terrible thing to say, in all honesty. And that's me getting on my goddamn soapbox right there. But that being said, just taking her as a goddamn actress, she's not good. And she's lucky she has her looks, because her looks are the only thing carrying her to whatever career she's going to limp, towards the finish of whenever those fade away, because she doesn't have the acting ability. She doesn't have the personality. My God, I mean, there are people that struggle mightily that are way more talented than her that could do better. And no, they aren't allowed to do that. But let's give this woman that has absolutely no discernible, positives to like her acting ability. Let's just give her more roles. Despite the fact we've had diminishing box office returns with a lot of her goddamn films, because when you put her in the lead or you put her in a lead role, it doesn't work because she's not fucking good. Anyway, poor Rachel Zegler. Andrews, Jonathan, he was fine. I mean, there are a few other recognizable faces in this, but yeah, this just drags on. This is like maybe a 95-minute to 100-minute movie, and none of it works. None of it works at all. Even the mirror looks terrible. I don't know if it's as bad as Wish. Well, actually, it's worse than Wish, because Wish at least didn't have Gal Gadot in it. I cannot begin to just re-emphasize and re-emphasize just how bad Gal Gadot is. She is 1,000% putrid, and I am astonished that she keeps getting work. I am astonished, because she has proven time and time again she is not up for it. And whenever she tried to be all evil and badass, I was like, oh boy, she is the worst villain in modern Disney movie history. And that's saying quite a bit. I'm going to get into spoilers, so there you go, spoilers. So basically, she is sent away into the forest. That doesn't really, we don't get any of the stuff where like she's cleaning up the house for the dwarves, and that's fine. She has the dwarves do the cleaning. She helps them out, having them take care of themselves. Jonathan is a bandit that has to find a heart of gold and find a way to help her. She ends up helping them fight back against the King's Guards, or the Queen's Guards, who are the absolute worst goddamn guards in history. The CGI animals are absolutely terrible. I mean, I could have seen this movie costing $100 million and being like this, but this much money? Was it a money laundering scheme? With Disney, it's really hard to fucking tell. The whole point is this movie doesn't end up really going much of anywhere. I mean, any of the attempts to take the story in a different way or trim some things down or add original songs, not having the same songs, fine. You can add different songs if you want, but you have to at least try. And it doesn't try. Except maybe it's trying to suck. Speaking of trying to suck, once again, Gal Gadot, absolutely terrible. So she's instantly the queen. She's all powerful and everything. They do the apple thing where she, poisons Snow White, but Snow White isn't even put in a deep sleep all that long. Jonathan's able to get free to do what he wants any old time after the necklace is given to him. He's captured by the queen. He gets freed along with the huntsman, and the huntsman gets the guards, and he's going to battle back against the queen or something, whatever. I don't know. Then Jonathan and the love of the dwarves and the love of everybody revives Snow White. And they kiss, okay. So it's not a kiss that revives her, fine, but whatever. I mean, again, I don't really care. But then the final, once again, the diamond stuff, it just reminds me of that Simpsons episode, Diamonds! And the backstory of trying to tell Snow White, how she grew up with her mother, her father, the king and queen, and just whatever, just the sets are terrible. The way she meets Jonathan is terrible, where he's, stealing food to help out people, but every citizen seems to be doing fine, despite the fact this Hamlet apparently is not all that successful besides the queen, hoarding everything for herself. It's almost impressive just how bad this film ends up being. It's almost impressive. And those songs, my God, just the cherry on top of the shit sundae. But basically, the finale is Snow White getting everybody together, getting everybody to remember who they were, and they say, I remember, and I, and everybody turns against the queen, who has all this magic, by the way. So she turned herself old, did the apple thing, that didn't work. The vultures didn't attack her after she fell off the cliff like in the original animated movie. Sorry for the spoilers, it's been almost 90 fucking years. But they basically turned the queen back by essentially just saying, no, we're not going to take this shit anymore. No, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take this anymore. And then, there's this like running gag about this guy with a crossbow. And he uses it and stops the queen from using this like diamond dagger. And then her and Snow White have a face-off. And the mirror is like, you're too vain. You probably think this show is about you. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. Don't you? And essentially, we have Snow White, basically, Snow White and her have like one final pseudo showdown, but this basically ends with the mirror being broken. Evil Queen turns into a goddamn bit of stone and glass and gets sucked into the mirror. Into another realm, the shadow realm, as it were. And now we get a big celebration with everybody in white. Everybody. I think all white. I'm listening. Everybody's in white. Everybody's celebrating and having fun and doing whatever they're doing. So yeah, that was certainly that was certainly something. That was certainly a movie. Did I rant too much about it? Probably. Do I care? Not necessarily. It's this gets an F. This is an abomination. This is really bad, and right at the top is Gal Gadot's attempts at acting, and attempts at singing, and attempts at acting like a goddamn human being, because I have to think that she's some form of automated, individual, because there's no way anybody could actually be on pure air and act like she does. Nevertheless, yes, it gets an absolute F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland, and I'll see you soon.